The first story that we have is from the Am I the Astronaut subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for telling my sister I don't feel sorry for her after her daughter moved in with her grandparents? My niece, Annabelle, 15, went to live with her grandparents a few weeks ago. This was a long time coming. Annabelle has been miserable at home for years and has talked to her mom countless times and had me, my mom, and my brother talk to her mom on her behalf before. Nothing changed until Annabelle was finally done. This all started when Annabelle was 4. Oh, wow. My sister Natasha, 47, met her husband and they moved in together with his then 5-year-old daughter, Jasmine. Annabelle instantly adored Jasmine, which I know my sister hyped her up for them being sisters and stuff. But Jasmine from day one was very negative toward Annabelle. She would scream at Annabelle and call her names. It wasn't normal kid acting out stuff and it wasn't corrected from what we witnessed. Then over the years, it just kept getting worse and it stayed a very negative relationship even after Annabelle stopped trying to be sisters or even friends with Jasmine. Jasmine was with her dad way more than with her mom. Her mom, like Annabelle's dad, was a bit of a deadbeat though, and at least she knew her mom where Annabelle had never met her dad. Whenever we would see them, Jasmine would have no problem playing with other kids, even other kids in our family, but she would tell Annabelle she couldn't play or she would blame Annabelle for making her stop playing with the others. My brother's kids would come and tell us what was going on, and neither Natasha nor her husband would say or do anything. My mom went over a few times and said it wasn't nice to exclude kids, and Jasmine would say she hated Annabelle and wanted her to go away. This all bled into school, where Annabelle was bullied by Jasmine and some of her friends. Still, nothing was done. Natasha dismissed everyone who mentioned it to her. She would even ask Annabelle if she really wanted her to be unhappy and single again, or why couldn't she accept that some sisters won't always like you. She would ignore when Annabelle told her that Jasmine never liked her. We did our best to be supportive of Annabelle, and we even tried to figure out if we could help things with her and Jasmine. It came as no surprise to me when Annabelle told us her grandparents were fighting for custody. When they won, it was surprising because I almost expected it to go in Natasha's favor since she's her mom, but the judge decided Annabelle was old enough to have a say and took everything into account. Natasha was furious with the decision and has been crying and raging ever since. Nobody has comforted her, and we've pulled back now that we no longer need to go through her to see Annabelle. That might be why she showed up at my house the other night and wanted to talk, and when I didn't let her in, she asked me why we're not there for her. I told her that I don't feel sorry for her at all, and I said that it was her fault that this happened. Natasha called me a biatch and stormed away from my house. She sent me a text yesterday saying I should still be there for her. Am I the astronaut? Okay, relevant comment from OP here. We have been there for my niece and advocated for her. My sister refused to listen and dismissed it. She said she wanted to be married and prioritized that over her daughter. We all tried many times. She is currently living with her paternal grandparents in another city. She doesn't know her dad, but has a relationship with his parents. Being in another city and away from my sister and all the bullying in school is likely going to be the best thing for her. We're still in touch with her. Thoughts?
It is so important that we create a safe space for these kids to come talk to us. And this little girl tried and tried and tried for freaking 11 years. I mean, who knows when she started trying, but she tried to open up to her mom, and her mom never one time made her feel safe. If you do not feel safe to speak how you feel, then you also don't feel protected. Good for her for, at 15, making this horrible decision she was forced to make to go somewhere where she was going to feel safe. Little kids anybody deserves to have a safe space with the people who are closest to them. And as a parent, it is our job to create that safe space. And she blew her off and made her feel unimportant, told her she wasn't the priority, and then made it her problem that she felt this way and could have jeopardized her marriage, her mom's marriage. What? That's awful.
And then played the victim card at the end. And she's like,
which is ironic,
why is anybody
right?
here for me?
I'm going to allow this other girl to be an asshole to my daughter, be a bad sister, and then get mad at my own sister when she isn't on my side because I did nothing to protect my child. No, that doesn't work that way.
For it to get to this point and for the judge to weigh in Annabelle's favor to make the choice herself, there had to be some heavier shit going on.
I'm sure. Also, paternal grandparents. This girl has no idea. I mean, has no relationship with her dad. Right. So that's interesting too.
Yeah, that's an additional, it had to have been bad.
Yeah. Also for it to then bleed into what was going on at school and then the school not stepping in. Not that it's, well, no. Yeah. No, if it's happening on school property, school grounds, it is their responsibility to take care of that.
And maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Bring
it up, and they had meetings about it, but nothing was ever done at home. Here's the cool part. I think most kids who are in this situation, and there are millions of kids in this situation, which is heartbreaking. This started when she was 4, and it breaks my heart to think about a 4-year-old kid who just is attached to their mom and has no choice, getting forced into a situation where someone just hates them, treats them like shit, and
also,
is told to just deal with it.
It was built up as going to be this amazing relationship.
Yes.
A 4-year-old is going to take everything that parent says and believe that's the truth.
Yeah.
And when it's not, that parent should be the one that steps in, because it doesn't matter what the situation is. In good, bad, whatever situations, for a 4-year-old, that parent is the pedestal. I mean, and then when that person, and then when that person doesn't step back in and go, I'm so sorry, it isn't what I thought it was going to be, let's figure out how to work through it.
Right.
And then completely just shoves her aside, brushes her aside. That's awful.
Yeah.
And again, this little girl clearly has some sort of survivor mentality, because she didn't turn into a victim.
Yep.
She made her own way and created a situation that she could remove herself.
That's what I think is the cool
huge
part. And I really think that a lot of that probably has to do with OP and the other family members that kept in touch with her, and that probably kept reassuring her that this was not okay. Because otherwise, and the kids in this position that are out there that don't know any better, grow up with that victim mentality, grow up thinking that they just deserved this, grow up just repeating the cycle. They don't fight it. They never would have gotten to the point where they made that choice to extract themselves from it. And I really think that OP and the other family members here who are really pushing for this to stop and this not being okay deserve that round of applause for facilitating that.
And kudos to the paternal grandparents for staying involved in a situation I'm sure they weren't super welcome to be a part of, then creating a space where this little girl could escape. I mean, all of the adults here, with the exception of mom and stepdad, deserve a lot of respect.
Yeah, and there isn't a lot of talk about stepdad in this, but he's just as much to blame for allowing this to happen under his watch as mom is. And when you have blended families, there's always the first line of responsibility, is to your kid. Yeah. And while on the hierarchy here, I think spouse and child are and should be at an equal level, I do think that in a blended family, like, you have that safety responsibility. You are responsible for the safety of your child. And in this case, although there isn't anything physical talked about here, I think, safety goes well beyond that. And the scars and emotional trauma and the amount of therapy that this girl's now going to have to go through for the rest of her life to try to undo what was done is harm.
Not just by the parents, but by the stepsister as well. I mean, and it doesn't say we won't know why this other little girl acted this way. It wasn't even that the girl was there and gone and there and gone. These parents made a choice to prioritize another child over, you know what I mean? Like Jasmine got prioritized over Annabelle. And that is another fun little therapy conversation that's going to have to happen.
By allowing her to do what she was doing, they did prioritize her by allowing it to happen. So the question, am I the astronaut for telling my sister I don't feel sorry for her after her daughter moved in with her grandparents? Hell no.
Nope.
Not the astronaut.
Not at all.
Sister here is definitely an Ascon one.
Without a doubt.
I mean, there's selfish, and then there's selfish to the detriment of your child.
Yeah, that's a whole other freaking universe.
As a parent, you're going to be more selfless than you have ever been. You don't get to act like this. You don't get to make these kind of decisions and there not be repercussions.
Thank God this little girl got away.
Not without scars.
No. Man, this little girl's a badass. I wish this little girl at whatever age would get on and give an update just about her life and all the amazing
10
things
years
she
from
did.
now.
Because I think she's going to do amazing, cool things.
Yeah.
If she can maintain the mentality that she has now, she's going to be awesome.
Breaking the cycle.